How about this woman, Caitlin Clark? She continues to break records. Now, not only is she the greatest scorer in women's college basketball history, Mr. Unger, she is the greatest scorer in NCAA basketball history. And you can make a legitimate argument she is a mainstream superstar,
Oh
whether it
yeah,
be NBA, WNBA, sports. She's bringing people with her. I mean, the game on Sunday against Ohio State was the most watched college basketball game and women's college basketball game since 1999. And
makes
obvious,
sense. People
and
wanted to see her break the records. I
yeah,
mean, think about this. Even when Iowa goes on the road, you will see lines of fans going at least 2 or 3 blocks away from the arena because fans want to get in and see Caitlin Clark. I read this the other day. I don't remember the exact percentage. I'd have to look online, but once she declared for the WNBA draft, ticket prices for the Indiana Fever's home opener against the New York Liberty went up crazy. And Indiana's first game is on the road against the Connecticut Sun. I guarantee prices for that game went up, and prices for season tickets for the Indiana Fever went sky high. And I also read this: Indiana's going to have an advantage when it comes to Caitlin Clark because Iowa is not that far from Indiana.
no, it's
So
not.
so fans will be able to drive up from Iowa to Indianapolis to see her play. So
So
it,
wait, are you telling me that the WNBA already has their schedule for this upcoming season before the draft? That's
yes,
weird to me.
yes. By the way, the draft is April 15th.
So they're gonna do the draft and then the season. So when does the season start? Do you know when that
I can
first
look it
game
up.
is?
I can look it up. But just think about it. Like Caitlin Clark is already in like State Farm commercials for crying out loud. First game is May 14th.
Okay, so May 14th. So she's gonna go essentially from the NCAA tournament to the draft to being on a WNBA team and playing basketball professionally within a month. That's a weird schedule.
I know. I'm hoping that I'll get to see her because I'm going to the NCAA Women's National Championship game here in Cleveland at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
And we do know that women's college basketball doesn't have as much parity, I would say, as the men's. I think it's dominated by a few teams. Obviously, I think Iowa has a good chance with
South
her in.
Carolina, UConn, Stanford is always in the mix. Tennessee, but South Carolina's got to be the favorite so far. But
I do wonder how much, because the WNBA doesn't get that much exposure on television. I think women's college basketball has only gotten exposure because of Caitlin Clark. I
oh no! No! Think about some of the greats that have come through the women's college basketball. You've got Angel Reese,
who
Aaliyah, Aaliyah,
Angel Reese is who? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Who?
Aaliyah Boston,
Who?
Sue Bird,
Okay, Sue Bird, I know.
Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi,
Never
Brianna.
heard of Diana.
You've never heard
No.
Brittany Griner.
Obviously, Brittany Griner. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got Caitlin Clark now. You've had Arika Agumbawale, who hit
Never
one.
heard of her.
Okay, fair enough. That's this is mostly because I follow women's college basketball more than
Yeah,
you.
but what I told you 2 weeks ago is you have to go out of your way to follow women's college basketball, and I'm giving you all the credit in the world for it. I think you should, but I think that this market, and I think Caitlin Clark will help make it more mainstream because it's not that, and neither is the WNBA. Their season starting when the NBA season is over.
They do that on purpose
That makes
because
no sense.
Why would you want the WNBA to compete with the NBA?
Because you're helping it go hand in hand.
You want them to have their own separate seasons. But here's my thing. So I know Cleveland is pushing for a or I think it's an NWSL team, National Women's Soccer League. I don't really know anything about it, so I'm not going to get into detail about that. But I would love for Cleveland to get a WNBA team. We used to have the Cleveland Rockers back in the early 2000s. And if Cleveland had a WNBA team, Caitlin Clark would come here. I don't know if they would play at the Wolstein Center or at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. You'd have to work out all those details. But I think it would be great for the city of Cleveland. But you look at what Caitlin Clark is doing. She's shooting these shots from basically once she crosses half court, she's in range. It's unbelievable what she can do. And we already have somebody who is, I don't know if she's going to break all of Caitlin Clark's records, but go watch Juju Watkins out at USC. She can also light it up from 3-point range. So she could be the next Caitlin Clark. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on her, though.
Let's go ahead and continue our college basketball conversation. Let's move to a topic that Mr. Unger has really wanted to discuss that I will say up front, I completely disagree with him on this. You see the question down below on the bottom of the screen. The question is North Carolina versus Duke a top 5 rivalry in all of sports?
Hell to the yeah! Yes, it is. Think about it. You've had Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Christian Laettner, Tyler Hansborough, Shane Battier, Michael Jordan, Vince Carter, J.J. Redick, Antoine Jameson. These two teams have a combined 11 national championships. They have countless jerseys retired on both sides. When these two teams get together, it is must-see television. You want to tune in. When they first met earlier this season back in Chapel Hill, I found my favorite spot on my couch in my man cave, and I watched every single second of it. And it was a fantastic game. North Carolina ended up winning 93-84, and I expect it to be a fantastic game when they play each other on Saturday in front of the Cameron Crazies at Cameron Indoor Stadium. They are separated by 11 miles. They hate each other. When these two teams play, there's usually something big on the line. Whether they just played in the Final Four a couple years ago, for God's sakes. Yes, this is a top 5 rivalry. Do I need to go on?
Yeah, you do, because for me,
are you fucking kidding me?
Even close. This is my top 10 of rivalries in sports. This has no merit whatsoever.
Wait a minute. Did you just say Duke Carolina isn't even in your top 10?
No, it's not.
Dude, what the hell are you talking about?
Not because there's so much changeover every single year, and they maybe play once or twice a year in the regular season. If they played in the Final Four like they did a couple years ago, sure. But, I mean, these two teams, their history has been, as you mentioned, the players that have gone through. There's great players on both sides. They may be a personal rivalry for them, too, but it doesn't mean much in the context of the sport of college basketball.
Oh, it's bullshit.
Viewing.
Bullshit.
In my opinion, absolutely. There are so many. First of all, there's so many football rivalries that easily top this. Ohio State and Michigan, for one, in college football. Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn. Let's just start there in college football. In the NFL, you've got Eagles, Cowboys. You've got Ravens, Steelers. You've got Packers, Bears, which is the oldest rivalry in the NFL. You got countless hatred rivalries with the Chiefs and the Broncos as well. There are I mean, Niners, Seahawks. There's so many different rivalries in the NFL that can easily beat out this. Not to mention, obviously, Yankees, Red Sox in baseball. I think Astros and Yankees is the two best teams in the American League have slowly built a rivalry. Dodgers, Giants. I just named you 10 right there.
You didn't mention any in the NBA or the NHL.
Because the NBA really doesn't have a rivalry. I told you last week the last real rivalry in the NBA was Cavs Warriors.
Celtics Cavaliers is a rivalry.
No, it's not a rivalry.
Yes, it is.
It's a rivalry for you. It's not a rivalry for the world.
Celtics Lakers. There you go.
Celtics Lakers. But that hasn't been really a rivalry in the last 10 years.
Okay.
I'm just talking recent rivalries. Thank you, Jalen, but by the way, for contributing. Off the top of my head, in the last 5 years, I just gave you 10 rivalries with importance as compared to Duke and North Carolina, who may play twice in the depleted regular season in college basketball, which is quickly not mattering at all.
My God, the disrespect you are showing this rivalry is ridiculous.
Because it's not. It hasn't been a real rivalry in 10 years.
You clearly haven't watched it.
Because it's like the 10th best story in all of sports.
It is not.
Okay, when you think of college basketball and the hierarchy of sports, it's easily like the 7th most popular sport.
Duke Carolina is one of the best rivalries.
No, it's not, bro.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We got two people and you're telling you no.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
Clearly you don't. I think this is an opinion, it's a suggestion, but you have not fired back about any of my takes about any of the rivalries I named you.
Okay, Packers-Bears. When was the last time that rivalry was relevant? 2010?
I'll tell you what, it's been relevant because the Bears have actually played the Packers well, and they're about to get Caleb Williams, and that's about to be a real rivalry again for the next 15 years.
Aaron Rodgers owned the Bears. Jordan Love has come in and just straight up owned the Bears. Okay, Yankees, Red Sox. That rivalry hasn't been nearly as good since Dustin Pedroia.
No, but there's a reason why it's on Sunday Night Baseball and all the baseball networks, and there's a reason why it does get the most views.
Understood. I'll give you credit for Giants-Dodgers. That's a great rivalry. And they just met in the NLDS a couple years ago. Yankees-Astros, I would say from like 2016, 2017, 2018, it was really a rivalry. It's cooled off a little bit now. I'll
give you that, but it's still more entertaining than Duke and North Carolina because it actually has stakes.
Oh, good God. I don't understand this at all. The one rivalry, I'll put two rivalries ahead of it. They're only two. And they're both college football. Ohio State, Michigan, and Alabama, Auburn. That's it. Other than that, North Carolina, Duke is number 3 for me.
Jalen says Stone Cold and The Rock have a better rivalry. Oh, that's the greatest comment I've ever seen.
But it's wrong.